Hello, everybody. This is lecture 3 of module 2. I am Akanksha Singh, your guide, who will be taking you through the entire series of lectures that are associated with network security and cryptography. We've already studied a lot about what network security is in module 1. In module 2, we were basically going through the abstract algebra or modern algebra. We saw in lecture 1 of module 2 what abstract algebra is and what are its basic elements, fundamental elements. In lecture 2, I told you what modular arithmetic is and what is congruency that is attached to modular arithmetic, right? So, we've already understood a lot about modular arithmetic. This lecture 3 is is in the continuation of lecture 1 and lecture 2. Without having an understanding of lecture 1 and lecture 2, you cannot go through lecture 3. So my recommendation is please go through lecture 1 and lecture 2 of module 2 before going through what lecture 3 is. So let me start by the first topic of today's lecture, which is modular exponentiation. Now, what do you mean by modular exponentiation? Modular exponentiation is is basically an exponentiation which is performed by repeated multiplication. Now, to have an understanding of modular exponentiation is, let me give you an example, or let me start by understanding of an example. For suppose we are to find out the value for 11 mod 7, 11 to the power 7 mod 13. Now, I'm asking you to find out the value of 11 to the power 7 mod 13. Can you see 11 to the power 7 is a big value, right? If it was only 11 mod 13, it would have been easier for you to find out the remainder, right? 11 divided by 13. 11 mod 13 would have meant 11 divided by 13. What residue do you get? So that was easy. The answer was simple 11. But here, the question is 11 to the power 7 mod 13. So 11 to the power 7 is a big value, right? When you divide 11 to the power 7 by 13, what would be the remainder? That is the actual question. So modular exponentiation is actually is the exponentiation that is attached to modularity in modular arithmetic. Can you see this? There's a term that is in exponentiation. So basically, this at least this is something which you can solve by calculator, but there are huge numbers. For example, 11 to the power 94 mod 13. Now this would be out of the capacity of a calculator too. So basically, today we are going to discuss a method that you can do without even using calculator. Okay, so let's start by finding out the value to 11 to the power 7 mod 13. Now, my basic recommendation is always see 11 to the power 7 as in terms of powers of 2. How can you divide 7? You can divide 7 as 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6 and 6 plus 1, which is 7, right? So basically dividing 7 into powers of 2 and whatever the residue is left will be left out. So 2 plus 4 is giving me 6 and 6 plus 1 is giving me 7. That is the easier way of dividing 7. So my first recommendation or my first step is going to be divide 7 into terms of 2, into powers of 2. Okay, so let's start finding out. 11 to the power 2 mod 13. Now what is that? The answer to 11 to the power mod 13 is 11 to the power 2 is 121. 121 mod 13 is basically what? What would you get as remainder when you divide 121 by mod 13? The answer is 4. You would get 4. Right? Now we've got the answer to 11 to the power 2, 11 to the power 2 mod 13. Moving ahead, 11 to the power 4 mod 13. Now, how can you write this? You can also write 11 to the power 4 as 11 to the power 2 to the power 2 mod 13, right? my purpose of writing down this 11 to the power 4 as 11 to the power 2 to the power 2 is because I know the value of 11 to the power 2. Since I know the value of 11 to the power 2 mod 13, it will be easier. What is the value of 11 to the power 2 mod 13? The value is 4. Right, I know 11 to the power 2 mod 13 is 4. So 11 to the 4 to the power 2 mod 13. This is what I'm left with, because I know the value of 11 to the power 2 mod 13. 11 to the power 2 mod 13 was 4. So 4 to the power 2, this is left out value, 4 to the power 2 mod 13. Now 4 to the power 2 is actually 16. 16 mod 13. Now when you find out 16 mod 13, the answer is, when you divide 16 by 13, you get the remainder as 3. So basically the answer to 11 to the power 13 is 3. Right, so we got two answers. We got the answer for 11 to the power 2 mod 13. We got the value for 11 to the power 4 mod 13. Now we are left with just one single term, which is 11 mod 13. Initially, if you remember, I told you divide 7 in powers of 2, which is 2 plus 4 plus left out value 1. So 11 mod 13 will give me just the value 11. Right. So I have found out the value for 11 to the power 2. I have found out the value for 11 to the power 4, and I have also found out the value for 11 mod 13. Now since I know 11, I have to find out 11 to the power 7 mod 13. What would I do? I can write 11 to the power 7 as 11 into 4 into 3 mod 13. Any problem here? No, right? So what am I doing here? I'm actually writing down the value for 11. When you divide 11 to the power 7 as 11 plus 7 as 1 plus 2 plus 4, for 11 to the power 1 you get 11, for 11 to the power 2 you get 4, for 11 to the power 4 you get 3. So basically 11 into 4 into 3 mod 13. That is what you have to find out. So 11 to the power 4 into 3 into mod into 11 into 4 into 3 is basically 132. 132 mod 13. Now what is the answer? When you divide 132 by 13, you get remainder as 2. So this is the answer. This is the answer for my original question, which is, what is the value when you divide 11 to the power 7 by 13? What is the residue? So the answer is 2. Isn't it easy? Okay, I'll be taking up a bigger question, bigger exponentiation, and see how we are going to solve it very easily. Right. So my next question is 3 to the power 94 mod 17. This is my question. Okay, so basically I'm supposed to find out the value for 3 to the power 94 mod 17. Now here the exponentiation, that is the term that is there in the power value, which is 3 to the power 94. Now 94 is a huge value. As you can see here, this 94 as comparing to 7 is a very big value. Now we'll be following the same methodology that we did in this question. What did we do? I told you, basically divide your power term into powers of 2. So here what I'll be doing is, I will be dividing my 94 into powers of 2. Okay, start by 2. 2 plus 4, always start by 2, because 3 to the power 2 is easier to find out. That is why I am telling you to start by 2. So 2 plus 4 will give me 6. 6 plus 8. 6 plus 8 is going to give me another value, which is going to be 6, which is going to be 14. 14 plus 16 will give me another value. 16 plus 64. 6, that is 10, 8, that is 18, 18. Okay, yeah, right. Now, this is what is going to be summed up to be 94, right? So basically, as you can see here, I have taken up 94, divided 94 into powers of 2, and I was lucky enough to have the last value also as the power of 2. So there's no issue. Can we move ahead, class? Okay, so start by finding out 3 to the power 2 mod 17, which is very easy. When you elaborate 3 to the power 2, you get 9. 9 mod 17 is always 9 itself. Since 9 is smaller than 17, the remainder, when you divide 9 by 17, it's completely 9. 9 is completely left as it is. Okay, moving ahead to finding out 3 to the power 4 mod 17. Now 3 to the power 4 mod 17. How can you write 3 to the power 4? You can write 3 to the power 4 as 3 to the power 2 to the power 2 mod 17. 3 to the power 2 mod 17 was 9, and 9 to the power 2. Can you understand this? You can write 3 to the power 4 as 3 to the power 2 to the power 2 mod 17, and you know the value of 3 to the power 2 mod 17, which is 9. 9 to the power 2 mod 17. That is what you have to find out. So 9 to the power 2 is 81 mod 17. 81 mod 17, when you find out 81 mod 17, you get remainder as 13, right? So answer to 3 to the power 4 mod 17 is 13. Okay, moving ahead, 3 to the power 8 mod 17. Now this is a big number, right? Now you can fear, how do you find out this? This is do not fear. We are doing this in powers of 2 for a reason. Now how can you write this 3 to the power 8 as? You can write this as 3 to the power 4 to the power 2 mod 17, isn't it? You can write 8 like this. Can you write like this? Yes. Now 3 to the power 4 mod 17. You know the answer for 3 to the power 4 mod 17, which is 3 to the power 4 mod 17 is 13. So we know the answer, and 13 to the power 2 mod 17 has to be found out. So 13 to the power 2 is 169. 169 mod 17 is going to give me answer as 16. So to this the answer is 16. Okay, easy enough. Okay, moving ahead to finding out next value, which is 3 to the power 4. 3 to the power, we found out 3 to the power 2, we have to find out 4, we have found out 8. Now moving to 16. 3 to the power 16 mod 17. We have to find out this. Now 3 to the power 16. How can you write this as? You can write 3 to the power 8 to the power 2, isn't it? Can you write 3 to the power 16 like this? 3 to the power 8 and 8 to the power 2, which gives me 8 2s are 16. Okay, so I need to find out value for this. How do you do this? Again, very easy. We know the answer for 3 to the power 8 mod 17, which is 16. 3 to the power 8 mod 17, which is 16. So we already know one value, which is 16. Right, 16 to the power 2 mod 17. This is how you can write this. Any doubt here? So 16 to the power 2 is 256 mod 17. And answer to 256 mod 17 is, when you divide 256 by 17, you get remainder as 1. You get remainder as 1. Now, the moment you get remainder as 1, this makes your work very easy, very fluent. There will be nothing you now when once you get remainder as 1. Now, I'll be doing rest of my question here. So, what are we left out with? We're left out with finding out 3 to the power 64 mod 17. This is what we are left out with. Right. Now, how can you write 3 to the power 64? You can write 3 to the power 64 like this also. 3 to the power 16 to the power 4. Any problem here? You can write it like this. Mod 17. Right. Now, when you write down 3 to the power 16 to the power 4, now the value for 3 to the power 16 mod 17 is 1. Just now we found out. To this the answer is 1. So very simple. 1 to the power 4 mod 17 is what you have to find out. And the answer to this is also 1. Very simple, right? So basically, now what I will be doing is I'll be multiplying all the terminologies starting from 3 to the power 2. For that I got value as 9. Then 3 to the power 4 I got as 13. Then 3 to the power 8 I got as 16. And 3 to the power 16 was simple 1. And 3 to the power 64 was also a simple 1. To this we'll be finding out mod 17. When you multiply all these terminologies, 9 into 13 into 16 into 1 is, you can ignore that. 9 into 13 into 16 is 1872 mod 17. That is, you have to find out when you divide 1872 by 17, what will be the answer? What will be the residue? The residue is 2. So this is the answer. Okay, so you can also state that this is still little lengthy, but always focus on finding out the value of power as 1. Once you get the value of power as 1, the work here that you're doing will be reduced. Why? Because even if you get one terminology as power of 1, as value of 1, what is that? Rest of them will also be value of 1. Okay. One short trick that I would like to tell you guys is, the short trick for finding out modular exponentiation, that is x to the power by mod n. Basically, I am generalizing the trick here. X to the power by mod n. Now, most of the time you will be getting a very big value here, and the short trick for finding out this is always see how your n is. Here, if your n is prime, here if your n is a prime number, you can use one method for finding out the modular exponentiation, which is Fermat's theorem. I'll be discussing this theorem in my next lecture. So stay tuned for watching what Fermat's theorem is. Just now, just understand in simple terms, if x to the power y mod n, here if n is a prime number, you can simply use Fermat's theorem, which is just a very short trick for finding out modular exponentiation. Otherwise, if n is not a prime number, what you can do is you can pick up between two methods. Either you can choose modular exponentiation, which we just did, or second method that you can choose is Euler's theorem. Or second method that you can choose is Euler's theorem. Okay, so right now we just discussed modular exponentiation. We'll be discussing Euler's theorem and Fermat's theorem in my future video. Okay, I will also give you a hint when to pick up modular exponentiation and when to pick up Euler theorem. Now, modular for very small numbers, you can pick up modular exponentiation. Like for 11 to the power 7. 7 was a easy method. You could have picked up modular exponentiation for that method. And for huge numbers, for 11 to the power 194 or 11 to the power 1000 mod or something, for that you can use Euler theorem. When the value in the power term is a big number, please use Euler theorem, or that is the hint. Okay, so this is the short trick for finding out exponentiation, x to the power y mod n value. Okay, often you will be asked this question, what is the answer for 11 to for some value to the power mod n, and the power value is often very big value. Okay, and if not, the n is going to be some prime number. Okay, so this is the hint. Moving ahead to the next topic, which is divisibility and prime numbers. Now this is just a basic, you don't have to be very much worrying about what things we'll be discussing in this. We are just going to discuss what divisibility is, what prime numbers are. So starting by what is divisibility. Okay, now as you can see here, I have written when b divides a, that is when b divides a, how can you write this? You can write this as a divided by b, right? When b divides a, that is a divided by b. This is how you can write this, when b divides a. Now this can be written as a is equal to mb, right? A is equal to, for some integer, into b for some m, where a and b and m are integers. Now always remember, this is the notation for a by b. This is how you can write this. By this, b a straight line, a, b a straight line. This is not divisibility sign, this is just a straight line. B straight line a means you're dividing a by b, means you're dividing a by b. This is the notation for b divides a. This is the notation for b divides a, that is b is a divisor of a. Okay, so this is the small trick for understanding, or this is the representation of b divides a. I hope you've understood. Moving ahead to my next topic, which is GCD. GCD can also be termed as greatest common divisor, right? So since a and b is written here, so greatest common divisor of a comma b, this is what you mean by GCD. And always remember, a method for finding out GCD is Euclidean algorithm is going to help you in finding out GCD of two numbers, of two positive numbers. Okay, so GCD stands for greatest common divisor of two integers, and Euclidean algorithm is a method for finding out GCD. Okay, moving ahead to another term that you should understand, what is a relative prime number? Now what is a relative prime number? Hello everybody, I was just telling you what Euclidean algorithm is. Basically, Euclidean algorithm is there for greatest common divisor, is there for finding out GCD. I was also telling you that two integers a and b are relatively prime if GCD of those two integer is equal to b. So what is a relatively prime number? So relatively prime numbers are those numbers when you find out GCD of two numbers, and the GCD of those two numbers is equal to 1, that is when you can say that those two numbers are relatively prime. Okay, that is the definition for relative prime. Relative primes, two numbers are relatively primes when the greatest common divisor of the number is equivalent to 2. For example, here I will be telling you that divisor of 15. Divisor of 15. What are the divisors of 15? 1, 3, 5, 15. Right? These are the divisors of 15. And let me pick up another value b. That is another integer value, divisor of 16. What are the divisors of 16? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Right? These are the divisors of 16. And when you find out GCD of 15 comma 16, what are the greatest common divisor here? See, what is the greatest common divisor here? 15, 16 not matching, 5, 8 not matching, 3, 4 not matching, 3, 2 not, 1. This is the greatest common divisor for 15 and 16. So basically you can say 15 and 16 are relative prime numbers. 15 and 16 are relative prime numbers. Why? Because greatest common divisor between them was just 1. Okay, so this is how you see, this is how you can define relative prime numbers. Moving ahead to the understanding of what are prime numbers. Now, what are prime numbers? Any integer which is greater than 1. Always remember 1 is not a prime number. Because why is not 1 a prime number? Because the definition of prime number says the divisors, its divisors must be 1 and itself, right? That number itself. Now, in case of 1 is divisible by 1 and it is divisible by 1. Both the terms are simple 1. Therefore, 1 is not a prime number. Both the terms are 1 itself. Right? For that reason, 1 is not a prime number. Any integer p is can be stated as greater than 1, can be stated as prime number if and only if its divisors are 1 and that number itself p. Okay, so one more good or one more property of prime number that you must know is any number, any positive integer can be factored into its prime number. Any integer, pick up any integer. For example, pick up 15. Now 15, can you divide 15 into its prime factors? 3 into 5. 3 is a prime number, 5 is a prime number, right? When you multiply 3 into 5, you get 15. Now 16. For 16, 2 to the power 4. 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. That is 16, right? So basically, 2 is a prime number. So 16 is factorized into its prime factors. Or pick up another number, 22. For 22, 2 into 11. 2 into 11 is the prime factors. Pick up another number, 145 maybe. For 145, the prime factors are 5 and 29. So always remember, for any integer a greater than 1 can be factored into its prime number. And we have seen the examples. Okay, try some more examples at your side and let me know. Moving ahead to the next topic, which is Euclidean algorithm. Now we've already studied that this technology, Euclidean technology, is used for finding out GCD, or is a procedure for determining GCD. Okay, that is greatest common divisor of two positive prime numbers. Here I've mentioned the algorithm for finding out for finding out GCD, or basically here I've mentioned the algorithm for Euclidean. Okay, let's see. This is the methodology. Using this methodology, you can also write down the program for finding out Euclidean or for finding out GCD. Okay, so see what I've written here. I have said that Euclidean I have named the algo as Euclid algo, and I have taken up two numbers which are supposed to be positive numbers, a and b. Both a and b should be greater than 0. And then I've used this a and I've put that value into capital A, and I've taken up the value of b and put that value into capital B. And I am running a loop here. If b is equal to 0, I have to return the value here, and if not, then I have to do certain steps. That is, r is equal to a mod b, and then put b into a, and then put r into b, and go to 2 again. And if b is not 0, again do these steps and go to 2, and I will be going to 2 again and again until I get the value of b as 0. This is the algorithm for Euclidean. Okay, now I'll be doing one question using algorithm, and after that I'll be telling you the short trick. You can use both short trick or the algorithm methodology for finding out GCD. Okay, let me take an example here. Example is GCD 10 comma 45. This is my example here. Now by using algorithm, what I will do is I will basically put 10 into A, and I will be putting 45, my value of 45 in B. After this, I find out for step 2, I find out my value for B is not equal to 0. I'll be moving to step 3. Now step 3 says R is equal to A mod B, which is 10 mod 45, right? A mod B, 10 mod 45. Now 10 mod 45, that is, what is the value? That is 10 itself, right? When you divide 10 by 45, you get remainder as 10 itself. Now after finding out this, I'll be going to step number 4, which says now put the value of B into A. That is, I'll be putting 45. The value of B was 45. I'll be putting that in A. Okay. The value of R into B. Now I get the value of R as 10. I'll be allocating 10 to B now. I'm going to step number 2 again. I'll go to step number 2 and find out that my value for B is still not equal to 0. So I'll be moving ahead and finding out R is equal to A mod B. My A is now 45 and my B is 10. 45 mod 10. Now 45 mod 10 is going to give me, when you divide 45 by 10, what is the remainder that you get? You get as remainder as 5. Okay, moving ahead, I'll be allocating the value of B to A, which is 10. I'll be allocating R to B, which is 5. Now my A is 10, my B is 5. I'll be again going to step number 2 and finding out my B is still not equal to 0, and since it is not equal to 0, I'll be moving ahead to find out R is equal to A mod B, which is 10 mod 5. Now 10 mod 5, when I tell you to find out the remainder for 10 mod 5, the remainder now is equal to 0. As you can see here, now the remainder is 0. Again, I'll be putting the value of B into A. So my A now will be 5, and I'll be putting the value of R into B, which is now 0. Now when I go to step 2, I find out my B is now equal to 0. Now since my B is now equal to 0, since my B is now equal to 0, what I will be doing is return A is equal to GCD of A comma B. Whatever the value of A is, the value of A here is 5. That will be the GCD. So the answer is GCD of 10 comma 45 is 5. This is the answer. Okay, so this is how you can do this by using the algorithm. Okay, I'll be telling you another methodology for solving the same question. Okay, let me solve the same question by another method, or you can say short trick. Now GCD of 10 comma 45. Now without going into detail of the algorithm, the Euclidean algorithm, you can still find out the GCD of 10 and 45. How you can do this? Now, if you remember, I told you how can you write modular exponentiation. You can write modular exponentiation as A. How can you write A mod P? You can write that as A is equal to NP plus some number, if you remember. Right? So basically, this is how you can write the expression as, or always remember this is a expression. I'll be writing down my numbers into this. Just have a look at as to how I'll be writing down. So I'll be picking up my value of 45. The whatever is a greater value, please put that as A1, and whatever is the small value, please put that as B1. Okay. After this, I do not know any other value. I know the value of A1, which is the bigger value. Whatever is the bigger value, please write it down here. Whatever is the smaller value, please write it down here. After this, I do not know what is Q, and I do not know what R is. Now, you'll be finding out what Q is and what R is. How you'll be doing it that? Please see. Now, what what will be multiplied to 10? What will be multiplied to 10? To just find out the number which is just the smaller number than this number. What number should be multiplied to 10 to find out the greatest number, which is just the smallest number than 45, which is 4 into 10. 4 into 10 will give me 40, because 5 into 10 is going to give me 50, which is a greater number than 45, and I need a number which is smaller than 45, just the smaller number, which is going to be 4. 4 into 10 is going to give me 40, right? What to add to this number to get 45? 5. Okay. Once you get this, the methodology is going to be very easy. You are now going to swap this in this order. Write 10 here, write 5 here. After doing this, what to multiply to 5 to get a number which is just smaller than 10. Now, what to multiply to 5? When we multiply 5 into 2, you get 10. Just the smaller number or just equivalent to this number? That is 5 into 2. Plus what to add to get 10? 0. Right. Once you get this number as 0, whatever the value here is, that is your answer. That is the short trick. See, you did this in 2 steps. Okay, once again I will tell you, to find out GCD, please write down this expression. Whatever is the greater number, write down at A1 side. Whatever is the smaller number, write down at B1 side. Now after writing down this, what to multiply to 10 to get a number which is just the smaller number than 45 or equivalent to 45. When you use 5 here, you'll get 50, which is a number greater than 45. So you'll be using 4 here, which by which you get 40. What to add to 40 to get 45? 5. Right. After this, swap. Write down 10 here, write down 5 here. After writing down 10 here, 5 here, what to multiply to 5 to get 10? Or just the smaller number, that is into 2. When you do, you get equivalent number, that is 10, and here you get remainder as 0. The moment you get this remainder as 0, whatever the answer here is your answer. Okay, now this is going to help you in solving big questions also. Let me show you how you solve a bigger question. Okay, I'll be taking a big question here. Find out the GCD of 1701, 3768. What expression you know? A1 B1 into Q1 plus R1, right? Now the bigger number will come here, which is 3768, and the smaller number will come here, 3701. Now what to multiply to 1701 to get 3768, or just the smaller number? When you multiply into 2, you get a number, and to that when you add 366, you get a number equivalent to 3768. Okay, after this swap it here and bring this here. So 1701 equal to 366. Now what to multiply through 366 to get number equivalent to 1701 or just the smaller number? That is multiplied by 4, and to that if you add 237 you get 1701. Okay, after this swap the numbers. After swapping the numbers, 366 equal to 237. What to multiply to 237? That is just 1 if you multiply, and to that if you add 129. After this you get 366. After this swap the numbers. 237 is equal to 129. What to multiply to 129? Simple one. Plus to that if you add 108 you get 237. Okay, after this swap the numbers, which is you get 129 equal to 108. What to multiply to 108? Simple one. Plus what to add to 108 to get 129, which is 21. And after this swap the numbers. 108 will come here, 21 will come here. What to multiply to 21? If you multiply 5 to 21 and then add 3 to it, right, you get 108. Now after getting 108, swap the numbers. That is, now what you'll be getting? You'll be getting 21 here and you get 3 here. Now what to multiply to 3? If you multiply 7 to 3, you get exact 21. And the remainder is 0. The moment you get the remainder, this is your answer. The moment you get remainder as 0, this is your answer. That is, your answer is 3. 3 is the greatest common divisor of this number. I hope you got the clue. This was very easy for you. Now always use this short trick, or you can also use this short trick in the exams. There's no problem in solving the question like this. Okay, thank you so much. We'll be meeting in the next lecture. Thank you, class.